So I've been tasked with, well, first of all, I'm Rod Kurtz, Executive Editor of AOL Small Business. I think most of you were here for the announcement that we're shooting some video here in a room full of entrepreneurs. You guys are not shy. You've been coming up to me pretty much ever since. So I appreciate that. There's only one of me. If I look a little harried, I was out with Ken Yancey last night, who's quite a host and, of course, CEO score. So it's great to be with all of you. It seems like a lot of energy in the room, a lot of great ideas. I've been tasked with introducing our next keynote speaker, Rieva Lesonsky, which is sort of a silly exercise because if you've been anywhere near the entrepreneurship space over the past 20 years, you know Rieva. Much like Madonna and Gaga, she goes by one name. And, I feel like I've known Rieva for years. It's really, I think, only been officially about a year. She, of course, is very prolific. She's the founder and CEO of ProViz Media. She's a columnist for basically every publication under the sun, and I'm proud to say AOL Small Business among them. I'm also here to share a bit of news. I think some of you may have heard about it, but Rieva's joining us on our board of directors, along with the likes of Ken Yancey and Sir Richard Branson. So we're happy to have her in our midst, and I'll sort of clear the stage here and hand it off to Rieva, but we're looking forward to your talk. Rieva.
Thanks, Rod. I'm going to move this chair because I have lots of things to tell you. We're going to go back and forth. So, there's one thing everybody in this room has in common. Students, educators, association people. What is it? Do you know? No? Well, maybe, but that's not it.
We're all people?
Yes, you are all people. What do y'all need?
Time.
You need attention. A lot of you, entrepreneurs, educators, programs, you're heading associations, organizations, you're running your own business, you're at a university, and nobody knows about you. The more people know about you, the more that you get found, those other things are going to come. Somebody may read about you and give you some money. Somebody may read about you and I don't know that they can give you time, but maybe somebody will read out, I'll be your assistant. You can have some more time. There's all these things that can happen if somebody knows that you exist. And I think that that's one of the things that, particularly, no offense, to the professors here, we don't do that really well. You know, when you look at it as sort of an academic exercise, rather than it's a marketing principle. The more people know about you, the more you're going to get from them. So we're going to talk about that today. I went to journalism school at the University of Missouri, and they teach journalism students that you have to examine everything in the who, what, where, why, and how principle. So that's what we're gonna do here today. But first, an aside. 2 years ago, I went back to Mizzou. It was the 100th anniversary of the journalism school. And I was actually brought back there at the time by the business school to talk to, they had heard me speak at one of Jerry Hill's CEO events, and they said, oh, come on back, old timers. So I said to them, the professors at the business school, and somebody kind of mentioned it earlier today, I think the problem is at colleges, everybody's in a silo. And I had talked to students at the J school and talked to students at the business school, and there were skills that each one of those could have brought to the other that they didn't have or even knew seniors. That still, many years after, I got a great journalism education at the University of Missouri, but I wrote to them and said, you gave me a great education in journalism, but you didn't teach me how to be a manager. I never had to take a business class, not one. It was not any part of any requirement. So I think that's one of the things you can all look at your schools is how you can take the disciplines and have journalism schools tell kind of the business people how to talk, how to give a presentation, and have business school people teach. There's a professor at NYU, Jay Rosen, who's teaching entrepreneurial journalism. You know, journalists, we're kind of all the right brain. We don't really do numbers very well. And so we need to learn how to do that. So I think that's really important. So that's my aside, that's my commercial message. First, we're going to talk about the who. Who is the media? In the last even 5 years, the media landscape has changed entirely. In the old days, when I went to J school, media consisted of, you actually had to choose a discipline. Radio, TV, newspapers, and magazines. That was it. That was the whole world of media. Today, you still have those. None of those have gone away. But you add to that this whole new world of online digital media. You have podcasts and blogs and portals and websites and pad applications, and who knows what's next. I mean, literally, we don't have any idea what's next, and what's next is not 10 years from now, it's probably not even 10 months from now. So the media is enormous, and it can reach into every corner of somebody that you may want to tap. But you have to figure out what message do you want to send. So you have to figure out what do I need to convey, and what's the best method for me to convey it. You can look at who reads what, what's your reach on that. There's really only one television program that's dedicated to entrepreneurs. It's on MSNBC at 7:30 in the morning Eastern time. It's called Your Business. Rod's on it a lot, I'm on it a lot, Jim Baruch's on it a lot. So, but that's it. But so if you have a message that you think needs TV, you need to, that's really your best bet at doing that. So you have to figure out what's the best way for you to get your message out there. Okay, what do? There's a big journalism creed, and I'm not going to read that journalist creed to you, but basically this is what all journalists do. This is our role. We are primarily exist to inform, to educate, to entertain, or protect the people. I know that these days a lot of journalists get a bad name, but that's really what our mission is. Where are we? We are everywhere. As I just said, we're online, we're on TV, radio, newspapers, so we are everywhere, literally. It's fairly easy to find most of us, just Google us, Google our name, Google our publication. Most magazines have mastheads, so you can find out what editor is in charge of what section. If they don't, just go online and Google that magazine or that writer's name, or give them a phone call and they'll tell you. It's really better to target who you want rather than to start at the top and go, oh, they're the editor-in-chief, and they'll pass it down. Because in most places, the editor-in-chief does not open their own mail. Now, bloggers, they're a little harder to find, and bloggers are really important. People dismiss bloggers as, crazy people in their basement wearing pajamas. I don't have a basement, and I do confess, sometimes I am writing in my PJs later than I should. But it's harder to find bloggers sometimes because there's not a formal publication. So there's two places that you can go, that you can look at what your area of interest is, and you can find blogs that are key to that area. One is technorati.com, technorati.com. The other is alltop, alltop.com, and you just keyword search and you can see who's writing about what you care about, and then you need to start engaging. This is all about engagement. It's all about starting and having relationships. You might leave a comment on the blog, you might just send an email saying, hey, just wanted to say, hey, I'm enjoying your blog. It's to start the conversation going. That conversation may never go anywhere, or it could go somewhere. After me, Scott Gerber's going to come up, and I asked him to alter his presentation a little, because 6 weeks into his new venture, his nonprofit, he landed on the front page of the Sunday New York Times business section. 6 weeks in. And he did it almost like I just told you to. So it's not that hard or scary. Now, the thing that's really important is a lot of entrepreneurs in particular say, I'm going to think big. They ignore the small. I have to be in Inc. magazine. And some smaller publication may come up and they say no. There's actually more what they call trade publications, and these are the ones that are going to the industry. Never turn down an interview from anybody. Because frankly, we all read everything else, and if we're going to interview you or if we're researching your category, we're going to Google. We're going to see what's there. And if there's nothing there, we might go, well, maybe this person isn't as expert as I thought. So you really want to start building sort of a resume of who you are and where they've talked to.